We're live.
Damn circle spin. In the year of our Lord 2022, there should be no buffer. There should be no more spinning circles.
It's not, yeah. It's
And it's
still,
still not letting me on.
yeah, it's just still.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah, and then on the school page, it's just,
Mm-hmm. It's like, is it? I'm trying to figure out, is it Facebook or the Scoop that's blocking us?
let me see YouTube, what's going on. Maybe we should let them know we not with Kanye West or something.
You I mean,
I promise we ain't with Kanye. It's live on YouTube.
yeah, it's just a little delayed on my side. We're just the only ones watching on YouTube. So there's that.
Right. All right, what you want to do?
If we share this link, that's going to be a lot of clicks
To
for
share
them
it.
to, if we share the YouTube link to our Facebook.
We can do that.
Let's see if that'll get some folks. Let's see.
Where is the share button?
I hate it when Facebook reorders the people that it lets me tag and adds all the people that I like have never talked to before. I'm like, why are these people here to be tagged?
What's up, Will? Okay, that's not working. Okay, so now let me go in and tag everybody.
It's not working.
No, it's working.
Oh, okay. All right, all right. All right, all right. Now I have to figure out how to work a YouTube chat and whatnot.
Who do you usually tag?
Medina, Michelle, Kelly, Lakeitha, Shanae,
Michelle.
Rutherford.
Michelle. I'm not looking at my. I don't think she's my friend. So I can't. EL. REL.
I hit up KG, Kels, Candace, Eunice. Note to self, update my profile picture on YouTube. This is not me. Harpo, who this woman?
Oh Lord, yeah.
Yeah, like you know how long ago that's been that was me.
Ooh.
I don't ever pay that image any attention until like right now. That's funny. Mm-mm.
All right.
I don't think we're in a retrograde. There's a full moon going on, but I don't think it is retrograde related. It's just they tired of Ye is shutting down the internet.
All right. Okay. Okay, I tagged them. All right, let's go.
This will be a replay for everybody of everything.
Let's see. All right, y'all. Sorry about that. We don't know what's going on with Facebook, but as always, gotta do what we gotta do. Yep. Make sure, of course, as always, you hit that share button, even if it's the YouTube share button. And let's go ahead and get into these. First of all, you good? Are you good?
I am. I'm good. I'm good. I'm actually proud that we had a pivot option on this evening. That's why it's important to follow and like and do all the things, because we on YouTube. Boom. Oh, Facebook's tripping. We're on YouTube. So we don't have to miss a beat. So I'm thankful for that. And good. We out here.
Same here.
Mm-hmm.
All right, good. Okay, well then let's jump into these.
What's up, Victoria? Hey.
All right, let me do this. Hey, Shatori. All right, here we go. Let's jump into these topics. Here's the first one. I thought this one was kind of interesting. If it keeps you happy, keep it quiet. Agree or disagree with the statement. Are you a moving silence person or more shouted from the rooftops? Oh my God, where did it come from? Oof. All right.
This one, I am kind of in agreement with, depending upon the phase that you're in. I think there is value in keeping your cards close to your chest early on in a thing. If it's something that's extremely important to you, super valuable to you, as far as like a goal or an exciting something. If it's something that you need to happen and that you need protected, or sometimes even something that you're really, really afraid of, but needs to happen. Those things, even, the first thing we'd like to do when we're afraid often is to go and get someone to help us through. I need a buddy. I need somebody to support me in this really, really scary time. I've learned that sometimes that's not helpful. Sometimes you are the support that you're supposed to have in those moments, so you come through that stage more solid. So Yeah.
Yep.
On some things. And from the relationship perspective, I have not been quiet about my thoughts on how we feel about like happy people right now. Like we say we want it, but I don't think we really do. Not truly, because
we tear them down too much.
Yeah, we don't really. Yeah, we enjoy that part of it too much to say that we're truly happy for it working. So that's also another reason why I'm like, yeah, sometimes you can enjoy your thing. You don't have to hide your thing, but it does not mean that you share all of your things about your really good thing. So yeah. I will let you know. I'm not gonna let you sleep on me to the follow-up questions or whatever. Like, are you a move in silent cyber person or a shatter from the rooftops? Like, if the question comes, like, is that your thing? Do you do that? Oh, I'm gonna let you know that's my thing. But like, it's not necessary for me to play by play you every move that I make. That part you're not gonna get. I'm very moved in silence in that way.
I think that so I think in any context, whether it's relationships, whether it's business, that there are certain things that you should just keep to the close to the chest, as they say. Especially early on, especially when you don't know, especially when you don't know who to trust. Like you really don't know people's motives and intentions. Like I'm in a space now, especially with like the transition with the church and stuff like that. Like everybody's had questions and everybody wants to know, and I find myself a lot of times just and just listening and putting myself in the position to just listen and not talk, or because people will expose themselves, and then once same thing in relationships. Like you have a new relationship, you really don't know people who are pretend who they think they cool, they cheerleading you, and so I think, and plus I think to your point, there's just a natural newness, like a baby. Like there's just a natural innocence to that space that you're trying to maintain, that having too many people in it can contaminate. So it's best at times just to leave it as with as few people as possible to contaminate your thing, so that way you could keep it, your thing in that innocent space. I always say, I use the example. I said that it's like with the baby. Like you have a brand new baby, it's fragile, he or she can easily get sick. So you don't want to expose to everybody's hands on it, everybody touching your baby. I remember when Trey was born, I didn't know. I didn't realize how sensitive baby's skin were. So I had him laying on my shirt. And his face broke
out. Outside on that baby's face.
And it took somebody inbox to me like, hey, his face is breaking out because it's on your shirt. You need to put it. I was like, I didn't know. And I felt so bad. But not recognizing how sensitive his skin was, I had exposed it to something it wasn't used to. So it was reacting in an adverse way. So I think it's the same thing with new business, new relationships, new everything. You have to keep that environment pure until you're ready for that exposure, until your system has built up to that exposure, till you're ready to you've handled some conflict internally, and now the external conflict is not gonna throw you too far off, because you've had some conflict and you see how each other responds in conflict, and whether your business can handle this. And I think you need all of that. But overall, now if I'm talking overall, now I think where I initially was like, I don't know if I agree with this, was because I overall hear this happen, hear this said, like, move in silence, don't tell nobody your business, just pop out and do it. And to me, then the reverse of what I said, I agree. I would then say, like, if I always have to move in silence, then now I'm questioning the people who are around me.
Why can't I share some things?
Yeah, or why can't you just be grateful, happy that we're flourishing? If everybody's around me, if there are that many people around me who I don't know, like there's going to be some people who have something negative to say, but there are enough people around me who will encourage me, who will, speak the truth in love and all that stuff, then I got a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I shouldn't always have to move in silence all the time. Hey, Tina,
Hey.
I shouldn't have to always move in silence like that with everybody. So,
Yeah.
I think to your point, it does depend on where you are in the process of relationship, business, whatever that thing is that you're trying to grow. But at some point, you has to be exposed to the elements to make sure that it can withstand the test of being in the elements, being in front of people, being around people who are going to say crazy stuff, because that's just a part of relationships, business, every area of life. So
yep. And before we move on, I want to just note something real quick that you said. You said the word contaminate a few times. You don't want to let, we want to, of course, protect our things, relationships, business, are things that value protection from being contaminated. Sometimes that does not always mean negative. Contamination just means an addition of something that is not a part of the original formula in this particular situation. Because sometimes if something is new and everyone is so congratulatory, oh my God, yes, you're so cute, you're so perfect, goals, power couple, yes. Or oh my God, we've been waiting for you to launch that thing, you gonna kill it, like oh my God, we're gonna sell out. And it's all this thing around it, that additional level of anxiety, pressure, expectation, while well-intentioned and in some capacity you love it, you need that, okay, they got me, yes. At the same time though, it doesn't leave a lot of room for you to be human in the realm of you figuring out this very new thing. So there, that's not just pushing away. That's not meaning, got to go down all your list and check all the people who are, going to be negative and contaminating your life. Like it's we have to keep that very much in perspective of what it is that we're talking about.
Right.
It's more than just the toxic version of a contamination. It is an addition of something that we're just not ready for. Yeah. Or was not intended to be there like that.
That's good. I like that. Good ad.
I'm a word person. So when you said that the second time, I was like, we got to put a pin on that. We got to come back to that.
That's good. All right. Here's another. I actually came up with this one. I can't remember where I came up, what happened, but I saw something that made me think of this. But it says, is it your partner's responsibility to manage our triggers? If not, what role should they play? How much ownership do we have in the management of our partner's triggers for the success of the relationship? Is it our partner's responsibility to manage our triggers? If not, what role should they play? Or how much ownership do we have in the management of our partner's triggers for the success of the relationship? What's up, KG?
Hey, what's going on, bro? So I struggled with that follow-up question piece, aside from your if not why, because I knew what I was trying to say, but I could not quite verbalize. Yeah. I could not get the words out. So this was a good one overall. So is it our partner's responsibility to manage our triggers? Day to day, I'm going to say no. I do not think it is anyone's responsibility, but and for this sake, definitely not our spouse's responsibility or a partner's responsibility to manage our triggers. I think that's something that we are essentially responsible for as far as communicating what our triggers are, identifying what our hot points are, like our escalation points. We don't go from zero to hot. Trigger doesn't do, you know what I mean? Like it feels like triggered is it indicates a switch is flipped, but I've realized like rarely does it really, there's not really that happens every time, especially with people that love us. Often there is a poking, a prodding that happens before that final red flag is done, that flip is that it gets switched. So we are responsible for identifying that in self and knowing when someone is attempting to trigger us as well. So I think like that type of self accountability and managing just your person is always first and foremost our responsibility. I feel that, no, I know that I feel that once you have done that, you have been mature and communicated those triggers, you have done your work as far as staying out of the shot of those triggering situations and all that, you're doing your self work on that. I think it is our partner's responsibilities and those who love us responsibilities, once they've been made aware of our triggers, to be aware and cognizant of not tripping them. Like, it is a sign of love for them to be aware of, and when, if ever possible, avoid triggering their person, because that motivates a non-them version of themselves, that provokes that level of them to happen, and that you're fully aware of that. So I think, as being a good partner, we do hold some responsibility in our relationships for not triggering or not putting our spouses in triggering situations that cause them to act out of character, to have them not be their loving selves, not be their mature selves, not be their wise, or whatever it is that they do. That is part of our responsibility. A lot of our responsibility is being the other person in that relationship.
You said that. The only thing I would add to that is, and if you see, I think a part of our responsibility should be, I'm trying to say this right, like, if you see that they're about to do something that is going to trigger them, like, obviously you can't. So I mean, like, there are things that have nothing, like, you're saying that not to do things to trigger them or to help do things, not, I mean, because you can't completely not do it, but
no, I mean, like, yeah, just be aware,
right. And I'm saying that, and if you see that apart from you, they're about to do something, like, for that's about, that could trigger them being like, hey, watch out.
Yep.
This is a problem. This is going to get you to where you don't want to be, as well. I think, because sometimes it's not something that we're a part of. It's an external relationship. It's something that's totally separate from us, but still saying, warning, warning, warning.
Yep. We'll see that situation before we'll see us doing it.
Right.
We'll see other people triggering our person before we'll see that we're doing it.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yep. What Tina says, she says, it's not their responsibility. When triggered, they should back off. They know the trauma from intimacy, so safe words, timeouts, and space should be communicated in the relationship boundaries. Yep.
I do believe in timeouts.
Absolutely agree with that.
Yep.
Absolutely agree with that. And I think those are things, to your point, that those things have to be, like, developed too. So I think one of the things that I learned is, like, not learned, but I watch, is you can tell how, especially like in premarital conversations, how the depth of conversations or the depth of intimacy was in this area that some couples have, because they will have already developed those. And then there's some that don't develop those till years later, as they get into, these are triggers. This is just the argument. There's something here that's triggering you. We can figure out. So I love, like, listening to that to figure. So do you know why he does that? Why she does that? When she responds like that, what's going on? And seeing whether or not they've gotten to that level of intimacy where they know, oh, she's triggered when I do this because this. And so the way our workaround is, she'll say this, and I'll know, like Tina said, a safe word. She'll tell me this, and I'll know, okay, she's triggered. She needs a minute. Vice versa. Oh, he's like this, so he needs some affirmation. Let me do that. So.
And that's really where my follow-up question was coming from, because right now we're very much in a worry about yourself. You are solely responsible for you. And the you that you bring to the relationship is the you that this relationship is gonna get, and y'all just gonna come together and you just deal with it. And there is a give and take that is required. There is a level of care and concern and prevention that goes in place when you get to this level of intimacy. So, I challenge the taking no responsibility, because responsibility is also care for. It's not a solely I'm the one that initiates this thing. Like I'm the one who makes you mad every time and you just can't control yourself. That's not always what responsibility means. It means the care in which that you take in handling this person, this situation, these encounters, these crucial conversations, whatever it may be. And we are responsible for that. We are responsible for how we manage our person's prior experiences and how that shaped who they are, because that's essentially what it is, whether it be trauma, whether it be their fault or otherwise. Experiences, just this is my life, you know what I mean? This is how I show up because of the life that I've lived. And I recognize that these things aren't how I want to operate, 9 times out of my 10. So therefore that's why they're in the trigger box. Right. I get that this is not the ideal me that I want to be. That's why that's considered a trigger. So I take great care in keeping this part of me here. So it's great with you and being a person who also loves me, assists me.
Yes.
Keep that in that space. I think so. That's what we miss when we see questions like this. We immediately absolve ourselves of all responsibility in how our people show up.
But then we'll expect, you're correct. I'm not gonna go on this rabbit trail. But I'm gonna say this part. But then we'll expect people to care for us. Like we'll say that we'll try to absolve ourselves from that, but then want that other person to deeply care for us beyond something superficial. But anyway, all right, no rabbit trail there. I was gonna say a part of what you just said too is also paying attention, and this is I think where I thought you were going, is to the environment in which we live in, the environment we communicate in, the environment that we live in, not just from a home or house space, but overall environment. So if I know that that harsh words are a trigger for you, then I'm going to make sure that the temperature of our home stays at a level that allows you to communicate well, because I know if we get above a certain temperature, okay, this is going to trigger her and she's not going to be able to communicate well. So how do I communicate in a way that lets her recognize that, listen, this is a serious conversation.
Right.
This is not a conversation that I need to turn into an argument. I need to be aware. Okay. Let me keep it calm. Let me not raise my voice.
Which means we might need a timeout. We might need a minute. Yep.
Yeah. Well, we can start like, okay, this is getting to, we're not hearing each other right now. Let's stop. We're talking, I would say we're talking past each other right now. We're not talking to each other. Or I've had conversations where I'm like, I'm not even talking to you right now.
Right. Yeah. Talking just at the other object. Like it's just I'm projecting words.
I'm not gonna even lie to you. I had a conversation. I think I told you I had a conversation recently where I realized I was talking to a totally different person.
It's like that way.
And I had to go. I told you I had to apologize. Like that wasn't even you, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was like, that was my whole ex-wife. I was just having an argument. I'm sorry, that wasn't even you.
But you were triggered. You recognized it, and you had to own that. Yeah.
Like later on, I recognized, like, oh shoot, I went okay.
That was not what was happening.
I'm sorry. I was tripping. And it wasn't so much that what we were talking about wasn't something that needed to be talked about. It was just, because I got triggered, I brought something in the conversation that wasn't even something that had to become.
At that point, it becomes, thank you for just letting me have my moment right there, because I was wrong. Like you could have, like that could have been real bad. But thank you for that. I appreciate you. Yeah.
So I think that's the ownership. The ownership is part knowing that. And then what you just said was also giving the other person the grace to do that. to say like, okay, that wasn't me. What happened? Like, what just happened? That wasn't me.
We okay? You good? Like, what was that?
That did not require a level 10 response that I just got. What was that? So yeah. I think that's really the responsibility. And to your point, like, we can't say that we want to have any level of deep intimacy in our relationships and say I'm not going to be a part of that. It just doesn't happen. Nope. Sorry. When you get people, you get all of them. The good, the bad, and the ugly.
That's the covering. That's what we talk about.
Yep. So,
child, I'm gonna have to shampoo this head. I am Jesus Christ, superstar. Okay.
This is my father's house. Oh, I'm sorry. Fall in love with someone who is both your safe place and your biggest adventure. Is that what you're seeking in a mate? Have you ever experienced this kind of love?
I thought this was a beautiful statement. It sounds so romantical and whatnot.
Romantical.
I do. I like it. It because it covers bases without using lots of words. Someone being your safe place says so much. To have a person be your safe place, as well as the person that you look at as your biggest adventure, the person that gives you that drop tummy feeling also, like at the same damn time. To be safe, being the good kind of scared with someone, I could see that sounds dope as hell. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that sounds sweet. So when I read that and went into my poetic cue mind, I thought, yeah, that's kind of fly. Like I could see how that could work. You know what I mean? And just like from the bare bones of how I identify those two descriptors, like
those two, yeah.
You know, like I could rock with that. That's what's
up. So I thought it was interesting watching how people responded to this, how they took, especially the second one. I think everybody was on board with the someone who is your safe place.
Yeah.
I think if you looked at the post, the issue was the your biggest adventure part, because most people took that as the person who you have to fight with the most, or they took that in a negative connotation, like the person who was trauma. I think it was somebody said that I'm not coming into relationships to raise somebody. Like, so I think depending on
you got that from your biggest adventure.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I think it depends on the way you processed the adventure part that determined how
it tracks, though, in a lot of ways. Like, some folks describe some of these it's been an adventure, but not the one that they signed up for. Like, not what I was describing at the beginning of this.
Right. That's why I said it's very interesting to hear. It was interesting to see, because when I saw it, my thing was like, I really was like, I don't know how I feel about that, because again, I didn't walk in saying this is my interpretation of adventure. I looked at it from, like, when I think of adventure, I think of roller coasters. I think up, down, the ups, the downs, and I'm like, that part, I don't know if that's what if I'm looking for,
Yeah.
I think I like a little more steady, so. So
the slim set me, bro. Like, I need to know it's up and it's the pass forward and a backward.
But I also realized when I thought about that too, how that's, so I can say it on here. So I can at times, because I am like that. So last week, Shatoria asked us for a word, one word 2 weeks ago. I remember, you remember this. She asked for like one word to describe you.
I don't remember this. I would have struggled.
Okay. So
you lost me at one word. Like, what?
So she asked us to give one word that described us. So I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what the word is. What I don't know. And so Jamie made the comment. She said consistent. And so I said, that sounds boring. I was like, to me, consistent
sounds boring to you?
Yes. That sounds boring to me. Like, if you're a consistent person, that means you do the same thing to me over and over again. You're consistent. Mm-hmm. And I took that as boring. She didn't. She was like, that's not boring. And so I made a post, most people on the post. But so when I saw that, I'm thinking, so when I saw this about your biggest adventure, and my response to that was, I probably am a little boring. If I don't want this ups and downs, and I probably I like routine. I love routine. So I think that's part of where the consistent thing comes in.
Yeah.
So I think that's where I said, I think it depends on how you interpreted biggest adventure.
Right.
Because if you are a person who is not, if you took it like most people did, you took that in a negative way. Whereas other people, like you did, you took it in a way that still brought some of the other things that a relationship needs in it. So I don't think it's bad. I think it's just interesting in the interpretation.
Yeah, it is. And it speaks a lot to our collective experience.
Yeah.
With these words and sometimes our lack of a touch point with the other side. It's hard to connect sometimes with the butterfly feeling, the romantical of it, if that has been the furthest thing from your mind when an adventure is brought up. Like that, risk, spontaneous, those words don't generally spark joy in me. Like, you know what I mean? That's why I was like, you didn't like it consistent is boring? I was thinking, no, consistent is good. Because I too crave, I need structure. I need, I like knowing that we're good. Stability is good. So consistency is an awesome bullet point for me. But overall, I think we have not been afforded the fun kind of spontaneity. We don't get to adventure. That's not something that's familiar to us. So when we think of adventure, that sounds like a cute way of saying a bunch of crazy. Yeah, that's adventure. Oh, is that what we calling it now? Adventure. Like the whole connection with fun, scary fun is hard. You know what I mean? Or even seeking that out in someone as a part, like the whole idea of falling in love with the scary fun, like what? So that's why I'm like, I had to move into my poetry cue spot because I want, you have to shift sometimes into something that knowing where we're trying to go. You can't start something with fall in love with someone and then think of the worst. In my mind, I thought, where are we going with this when you're saying this should be, you know what I mean? So
yeah, no, I hear you. Tina says the adventure is the journey of the relationship. We grow constantly. Yep. Yeah, I think in that context, that's exactly what it means. I think that's a beautiful thing. I still hear.
I feel you.
I hear roller coaster. Well, even in that, when I think about the journey of the relationship, I think roller coaster. Which again, I've had to retrain my thinking to realize that the negative is not always bad. Like just because we are, we're having a down moment.
That's what builds us.
That's what builds us into the bliss of the up moments, is that we've journeyed through these moments together and have a better understanding and grown through those things and grown because of those things. And now we can say, okay, we're on an upward trajectory because now we're good and we have a better understanding of that the next time this thing happens. So, yeah. Jamie says, "Well, I didn't see that as a negative light. I saw this and was like, UQ, it was romantic." Troy says, LOL. I did. I ain't gonna lie. I'm just not happy about that.
What's a compliment, bro? It's a compliment.
Okay. Again, that's one of them ego things because I like to think of myself as part good guy and part bad boy, and that doesn't fit with the part good guy, part bad boy thing that I think I am. So
it's a part of the good guy side of you.
Okay.
You can't put one part of you in parts and then spread the other part across both sides. Like if it's a part, it's a part, or is it the whole?
Listen, let me have my
Okay. I wouldn't be me though if I didn't be like
making sense. Clearly making sense. I get it. I'm just saying that's how I feel. Okay.
Okay. All right. Moving on.
Maybe I need to be more bad boy around here. Pushing people around. Okay. Start yelling at everybody or something, Start wearing my hat backwards.
No, you will not be in therapy in our group chat talking about reworking all of what was said and done. It wasn't the right thing. You just do what you've been doing. You're gonna be all right.
Start hanging my pants down and something like that. So I'm gonna start doing it again. Shoot.
The hell, Jamie, get him. I need you on that text right now. You better not. Let me find out.
Here we go. So what is the biggest regret you made in your 20s, and how will you help your children make a different decision? How transparent will you be when sharing your reasons for your lessons? I like that follow-up. That was good.
Yeah. We like to piece out the details, the why. We don't like that why. We don't. Yeah. I don't know. My 20s weren't the average 20s. Like I didn't get the footloose and fancy free 20s that a lot of people get. So like, I can't really say that I have regrets for that time frame. I have notes that one of those, if I knew then what I knew now type of things, I would have done some things. I would have listened to that me more. I was in that space where I still felt I love to learn. Let me put it this way. I love to learn. So once I got out of high school and felt, okay, did that, hit all those levels, got all the thing, mastered that, boom, on to the next thing. And because it was so new and so not in alignment with what was expected of me, I had an assumption that for as much as I knew, I still, in a very big way, did not know. So I opened myself up in a very big way to be a sponge to things that I had no damn business absorbing because I knew better. I had more information. I often found after in what is it? Hindsight, realized I was possibly an authority in that situation as far as actual solution or, whatever the case may be. But I went to those who appeared to be or set, position themselves in such a way that appeared to be an authority on things. And that delayed way more than in hindsight I would have allowed had I known then what I know now. So I would have listened to me a lot more. I would have trusted, hey, if we all gonna F up anyway, let's figure it out. But having so much, having little people also there when my F it up didn't weigh the same. So I was more reluctant to trust me, even though I was the one, I say I, but our family were the ones that still had to deal with the ramifications of even others' decisions. So I think that was part of that too, like understanding that even hearing other people, you're still the one that has to really thug that thing out. So you can take that, but you don't have to hold that the same way. Yeah. Absolutely. And that's something that I am telling I might not even be right all the time. All I'm going to be able to do is advise, guide, impart what I know, and I'm gonna tell you how I messed that thing up. That's what I will do. That's the best thing that I've been able to do so far. I will give you very clear examples. That's why I follow. Like, I have no worries with putting my business in the street with my kids. Like, I'll pull up pictures. I'll tell you, oh, you want to know why we don't? You want to know why that little joke is what that joke is? Oh, get comfortable. Like, I have no problems telling them how mommy messed it up. You know what I mean? So, because I don't want them to do the same thing.
Yeah. I think that my biggest regret.
Ooh, yes, Amy. I just saw her comment. Hell yeah, we won't be doing none of that Aventer husband mess. We ain't fooling around with that. No.
I think my biggest regret, two of them. One was, well, no, it's really both. No, two. Not having as much fun as I wanted to. I think that when I got to, like, I was constantly, partly trying to people please a little too much. So I would have stayed, for example, I'd have stayed the 5th year of college. I think in retrospect, I should have stayed the 5th year. I was so trying to, my dad said I got 4 years. I got to be done in 4 years. And I was such a, to get out and start working and making real money. Like, I was in such a hurry to do that, and then got there, started making money, and just kind of like engulfed my life into trying to be this serious adult in my early 20s. I think I should have just I could have had a couple more years of fun. I think, again, that 5th year of college would have done me some good. I think that, I don't know if it had done the campus any good.
I was about to say, for more fun, or was that your focus 5th year? Was that a fun 5th year or a focus 5th year?
Fun year.
Okay. Right.
Fun 5th year. And I would have got my work done, because I got my work done, but it definitely would have been fun. And I think that, and then I would have gone. I would have gone. In retrospect, I should have gone straight to grad school. Because I could have, and again, another thing of trying to please people, of doing what people thought, what I thought was the right thing to do, and what looks like the right thing to do. I shouldn't have done that. I should have, not that I didn't enjoy it, but it could have waited. It could have waited another couple of years, and I'd have been perfectly fine.
You might have been able to hang out there a little longer, because you would have had.
Yeah, maybe. But I think I just would have been, when I did do it, I would have had a little bit more experience. I would have been a little more settled. Yeah, I'm not able to view it. You have to go on. Is that chaos?
I'm not sure.
Okay. But yeah, I think I would have just been a little bit more settled as a person when that time came.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, as far as my most logical thing, it probably would have been to stay in school. Because my brain is done with that part now. It's done. And I would have liked to have said, I have a degree, especially in the industry that I'm in now. Degrees automatically give more dollars, just because you might not even be doing the degree that you know what I mean? That might not even be your profession, but just having it is helpful. And where it might not make a lot of sense, it's still an advantage to have. So I've always shared with the kids, hey, once you figure out what it is you're going to do, if you determine that the people who are killing it in that field have degrees, you're going to need to go and college needs to be where you're trying to make your way to. You know what I mean? But there are some people who that is not their goal. That is not their desire. They're never going to be in one of those paths that's the thing. And save your money. Save your money. Because your brain is going to move past the point of being willing to, not necessarily capable of, willing to, prioritize space and time to learn things that, in a lot of times, you are not using. once you pass the point of putting in information that may or may not be useful, it gets harder and harder to motivate yourself to go back to school.
It does.
So you have to let kids know that once you start doing life, and then you got to go back and sit in a room with 19 and 20-year-olds who just playing with life, your whole desire to show back up and pay for it. I'm just go to work. I'm just gonna go to work.
unless it's a like complete shift in what you're doing. Like when I went from undergrad, like going back to grad school at 37 was hard, but because I think it was, it was something that I had, first of all, a passion for, but not a whole lot of knowledge of. It held my attention a little bit different than it would had I gone back to get an MBA. It would have been different because I wasn't as passionate about business.
Wasn't enough new to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I think that would have been different, a different experience. So, was that the last one?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, so the second part of the question was, it was about children. I think I would the way I would do is I would tell, be sure about what you want to do. I agree with you about telling about past and being honest about the past, but I also think it would be more so about getting them to understand that you don't have the pressure of having to perform. So, and that you don't have to rush. Like you have to be responsible, but you're not rushing to not. I might not be. And I'm like, well, I'm not saying I'm gonna pay for it, but I'm saying that whether you graduate in 4 years or 5 years, like that's not the thing. It's are you prepared? Are you ready to get out there? Are you ready to? And are these decisions the decisions that you want to make, not the decisions that you think I want you to make? Because I don't have to live with said decision. You do.
Yeah. So definitely do you. Put my information in the guidance box for sure. I've been reminding myself with Adrian a lot more, or hearing myself say, hey, but I mean, you pull out of that driveway, you're gonna do what you want to do anyway. Like, just telling you.
Yeah, I want you to have the information to be prepared.
Yes, my job is to prepare you with the information and be available to answer the questions. But you got it now. Figure it out.
You're gonna do what you're gonna do, and I need you to understand the possible repercussions for what you're about to do. So if you do this potentially could happen, which means this. And it might not mean that it's, it might not mean that you don't get to it, but it could mean instead of you doing it in a year, it might take you 2 or 3. Mm-hmm. So you just need to be aware.
Yep.
I was making long-term plans with temporary situations and putting dreams on hold for pipe dreams. I would have went ahead and went to the Air Force in spite of staying back for love.
Mm. Lord, I'm so that's glad. A lot of people have thoughts of like military, like that, the whole schooling, military, the traveling, those types of comments, I think are going to be big for especially folks in our age range. Seeing, because like I have classmates, we just had our 20-year reunion and like they're retiring this year. Like one of my he just retired. We're not 40. Like he is going to live the very best rest of his life. Like, you know what I mean? And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, there was some benefit, but we were also graduating in wartime. Like we had been in war our entire lives. And, there was a lot of factors as to why a lot of us didn't go that way. But at the same time, watching, again, hindsight, looky there, you see a lot of, those types of decisions. So that's why I'm like, I'm reluctant to call some of these things regrets. I just think we definitely have notes on how things could have gone different with just a little bit more either patience with ourselves, a little more information, sometimes a little more disconnect, given the opportunity to just bet on you a little bit. Sometimes this is all we might have needed.
Yeah. But I think to your point, like even the things that I regret, like I say I regret those things, but there's no way in the world I'm how old am I 42, 40, 42, 40, 42, 43 where I am if I don't make the decisions I made.
If we don't do what we've done. Exactly.
Yeah, so there's
and I'm proud of me. Like, you know what I mean? So like, yeah.
There's overall, definitely some things that like I recognize I'm not in these positions. So it's not about, it's not necessarily about saying that the outcome was bad. It's just the experience can be different. And that's why I said earlier, like you might be able to do this and that thing that might take you 1 year, but it might take you 2 or 3 if if this happens. Doesn't mean that it's bad. It just means, hey, like it just took you longer to get there. So, it's you just have to recognize that. Like if your goal is to get from A to B as quick as possible, do this. Don't do these things. But if this is just, you get there when you get there, okay. It's fine.
Then get there when you get there. Take your time. Right. Enjoy your trek, sir.
Enjoy your adventure.
Yes, enjoy
your adventure.
Yes, sir. Enjoy your adventure.
All right. Let's see where we at.
Oh.
Hey sugars, have you heard about the Blocked and Beautiful Braid Balm from Elegance by Design? The days of braids being weighed down by heavy products that don't hold are over. Blocked and Beautiful Braid Balm is perfect for box braids, updos, and the most intricate of braid styles. Let your creative juices flow, knowing Elegance by Design has your braids on lock. Order yours now at elegancebydesign.com.
All right. All right. Let's keep it moving.
Yeah. You hit us with the double whammy for the. I was like, okay, now how are these connected?
They're not.
They're not okay. They're just okay. That helps. Because one semi got a side eye from me. Well, they both did.
This one?
Yeah.
This one?
When you popped it back up, it immediately did. I was like, oh wait, no, both of them did. But for different reasons. So you want to lose a good woman, go talk to her about your problems. Do you agree or disagree? Are women only interested in the solutions from her man? So I didn't. This one here. Sorry, y'all. My blanket was caught under my wheel. That's why I was doing all this moving around. It's chilly in here, and I got to get my situation together. But so when you popped that up, I was like, "Good, I can scoot back and release myself."
I said, "What is she doing?"
I am trying to get my arms warm because I'm chilly. But anyway, so first of all, this didn't make sense with just how it was set up. Is she a good woman, really, if you can't tell her the things that you need help with? As a woman, one who thinks she's pretty damn good, that math ain't mathing. So like I was like, say you really trying to say something else without saying it. So yeah, that part doesn't really jive with me. But then I will not stop at that because I don't like the wordplay. I will allow the context to be laid here. Like I know what we were getting at, which is why I came up with the follow-up of, is it that women only want solution-driven men, or to hear about the solutions from the men, and we're not super excited about, hey baby, I got this problem. Thoughts? You know what I mean? Like, is that true? And or is that what it looks like? And what can we do about that? Is kind of where, as a woman, taking my emotion out of that reaction of hearing that initial comment. Because at first I was like, no. You know what I mean? Like all of my things, like, what? Like even from the good woman part, I thought, no, that just doesn't make sense. That's not what we want. It's not what we're saying at all. But then I thought, well, this is coming from somewhere. So I had to at least acknowledge. I want to acknowledge the sentiment from this statement. So this one's interesting to me. It's very interesting to me.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are your thoughts on this, bro?
So my thoughts are, I think that most women are here for a problem. Like if you're having a problem as a man, I think, and it's causing emotional turmoil and you know what I mean, like that kind of stuff. I think that a good woman, a woman, and I'm going to define good woman as a woman who cares about you.
Right.
The woman who cares about you wants to know what is emotionally weighing on you,
Correct.
mentally weighing on you. I think they want to know what's going on in your world. What I don't think y'all want to hear on a regular, consistent basis is the depth of the weight. Y'all don't want to hear the complaint. I think that if we complained to you all, like not all, but some of you complain to us, you all would get tired of hearing it. I think if every day I came home, your man came home and complained about some Negro at the office who was getting on his nerves, who was always bothering him, and who he was sick of it, and just like venting, I think that a lot of ladies would feel very uncomfortable with that and start to think and question that man's masculinity. I think a lot of ladies would do that because I don't think that you all, in general, not so much. I don't think it's a capacity issue. I think y'all just don't. I think that there's a level of strength that you want to feel from your man, and a level of, we'll call this, in this aspect, we'll call this security that he has it, or that he can figure it out, or he can move beyond emotion and into like that logical part that he's supposed to have, get into that and figure something out. I think y'all want that from us, more than you want to see. Just like I don't think in general y'all, even not being funny, I don't think y'all want to see for too long your sons doing that. Like I think that like you're okay with your son expressing pain, women in general expressing of their son. But if every day he was coming home complaining, y'all like, what kind of, what kind of blankety blank is this kid? And you start to question it after a while. So I think that's the difference to me. I could be wrong.
No, I'm listening to what you're saying. I'm thinking about, because you make a solid point. I think the thing that I'm pausing on, and not even in disagreement, I'm pausing on is the examples that were given. And this is also in that whole interpretation thing, because when I first saw this, I did not see like the discussion of problems outside of a relationship as something that would irritate her, or that would fall into this. This was something like the things that affect our household that are, a problem that you may have that needs solving that are going to generally affect us, that type of thing. I think if my husband, or, if he were to come home and share his work day stresses similar to how I would share mine, that wouldn't bother me, because I identify with the different level of exhaustion that you can have with going and working and, having to do stuff with other people that you might not
live in the world in corporate,
about, aside from we got to get this job done. So that probably, he could do that every day, you know what I mean? And that would not bother me as a woman. And that would not,
sure,
it wouldn't make me question his effectiveness, because I often know we can know very well what needs to be done and still be in a lot. If we want to come back tomorrow, we are not able to do those things. Right, you know what I mean? So I can understand why this could be a continued frustration for him. But if putting it into the interpretation that I had initially within the realm of our relationship and the things that it would take to move it along, I can see more of what you're saying because of the perception of the roles that we each should play within our relationship. And we have been taught that men are solution. Like, not only are they good at it, they prefer them too. Like, that's what they want. You know what I mean? So if I was consistently met with problems that did not have solutions, and it was a what is we gonna do consistently, that could possibly, not in a hey babe, let's you do this part, I do this part, what do you think about that? But I literally have no thoughts, no options, no, to this, then that's gonna make me be like,
what are we doing?
Yes, because there's something for a situation being unique, and I think your insight is going to be valuable here, as opposed to every time there is adversity, I'm lost in the sauce. That would concern me from someone who I would want to lead me in my home.
Yeah. And Tina, I think just kind of backed up your point too. She said we get accused of not being a man's piece, so a good woman will listen to understand the man's pressure. A man has feelings too. If he can be vulnerable, that if he can't be vulnerable, that's when stonewalling starts, and you all lose us when we get shut out. Yeah, and I think that's what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting to that point, and I agree with that. I agree, like I said, that there's a difference between letting you know what's going to happen or letting you know what's happening versus getting lost.
And even getting feedback on that. Like, hey, this is what I'm thinking we should do.
Yeah.
Some nuts and bolts of a plan is better. I don't expect the robot to be walking and talking and doing the thing, but if you got the nuts and bolts, you got an outline for me to help fill in details with. That move, that hits totally different than you handing me a blank sheet of paper with nothing but the problem at the top.
Right.
Like, that's different. That's different.
And I don't think we don't as men